I'm so glad we have the best bus system, transportation system in the nation.
It's pretty good.
Arguably, yeah, we are.
Well, I always thought the San Francisco bus system was good. I lived there.
Yeah, it's good too.
Trolley, bus.
Yeah, they have that big train issue. What they call it, zip train or something.
You want me to put that better?
No, they should. If we ever go do the rail again, we must hire a Japanese firm and have them. You have you have 10 years to build the rail, and that's it. After that, you lose.
But you don't.
Or we don't pay you any further, and we hire somebody else to take over. Because Japanese companies get things done.
And you in a church?
Look at the rail system they got in Japan,
Yeah, you do.
and it didn't take very much time to build either. They got down on it, they got it done.
That's right, thank you.
Okay, it's gonna be a big question of what's gonna happen to the Salt Lake.
I like the old phone. You have your app. Guy, we can answer.
Oh.
Yeah.
They disappointed the people in Salt Lake, so they better have a solution. Oh, well, you guys can catch their opinion to town and.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah, it's not gonna be a good answer. Kapuna, UH. Oh. Good note, I like it. 303 is discontinued. 301 added. Okay.
Phone doc. Have it like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for. Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18. Before we start, we're going to have someone sing the national anthem and the Hawaiian anthem, Hawaii Pono'i. Sophia Ann Nene, she's a proud graduate of Salt Lake Elementary School and now Campbell High School. Go Sabres, they won the girls flag football championship. So anyway, everybody please stand for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam? Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the roads we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? na na ikomo I kalani ali kei ali ma lani e kamehameha e na kawa e pale makualani e kamehameha e na kawa e pale
Round of applause, Sophia and Nene. Please be seated.
She should sing at the UAE football games.
Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call?
You're on our side today.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to call the following: Douglas Fujikura, James Gower, thank you, Lorene Godfrey, Nicole Hine, not here yet, yeah. Patty Igawa, Joseph Omura,
Here.
David Yomes, and Chandra Kanimaru. So we have a quorum. We need a quorum of 5, and we do have 7 of us. Thank you.
Okay, let's get started with the Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, board. My name is Ryan Chong. I'm the captain across the street at the Mokulele Fire Station. First watch is on today. Thank you for having us. There was a previous request last month, I believe. Member Ohura asked if HFD was responsible for informing the public regarding shelter locations and other information during emergencies such as hurricanes. Our response from upstairs was HFD continues to coordinate and plan with various city and state agencies to effectively prepare for all emergencies, which include hurricanes. City and County of Honolulu's Department of Emergency Management is the lead in activating the city's Emergency Operations Center, which includes coordinating with all other agencies to stand up emergency shelters and informing the public via its HNL alert notification system. So they basically, DEM is the one that coordinates and sends out the information, and they might use us as a coordinate as well as other agencies. As far as statistics, if you have any more questions for statistics, you can go to the fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov and look under news and info for more details on incidents relating to any kind of mapping questions you may have where and the alarms are. Fires, last month we had 2 structures fires and 5 activated alarms with no fire. Emergencies, medical 61, no reported vehicle collisions last month. That's it for emergencies. That includes Salt Lake, as you know, Foster Village, from here to basically Salt Lake. The fire tip safety announcement, home fire sprinklers. Fire sprinklers serve as the first line of defense against fires and often extinguish the fire before the fire department arrives. So, for more information, you can visit homefiresprinkler.org. Some statistics: fire spreads quickly, can turn deadly in under 2 minutes. The synthetic materials in our homes burn quickly and release the deadly poisonous smoke. High-risk individuals in home fires include small children, elderly adults, those with disability and pets. Fire sprinklers can protect your home and family. They're activated automatically to control the fire, thereby giving everyone a chance to escape. The best protection is having working smoke alarms, fire sprinklers, and a practice fire escape plan. You can get more information about the Honolulu's ordinances relating to fire safety at fire.honolulu.gov. Any questions?
Board, any questions for the fire department? Audience, any questions for the fire department? I have one.
Yes, sir.
Did you drive here?
No, no.
Thanks for coming out.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to the Honolulu Police Department Pro City Station. Convenient now, you just walk across the street of the fire department.
Good evening, Aliamanu Neighborhood Board, Lieutenant Glennie Wasaki, District 3 Pro City. We have beat 384, which is Foster Village. So reported incidents compared from March 2025 to April 2025. Motor vehicle thefts were 2, it stayed at 2. There was 1 motor vehicle theft, Foster Village on Molehu Street. Burglaries were 3 compared to 9. Thefts were 3 and it stayed at 3. And car break-ins was 1. And April 2025, it was 2. So Foster Village area, other than that auto theft, there was no burglaries, no car break-ins, and no thefts. The scene for the 2 burglaries out of the 9 is at Extra Space Public Storage La Vejana. So we've been having problems with the storage lockers getting burglarized, so we're working on that. And the reason for the 9 burglaries is Makalapa Elementary and Radford, they're getting hit on a nightly basis. So we did an operation. The first night of the operation, within 2 hours, we caught the burglar. Unfortunately, it's a juvenile. He was mostly stealing. He was breaking into like the athletics, where you can buy athletics clothes and like football team shirts and stuff like that. So he needed clothes. The other night he broke into like a refrigerator to get food. So kind of sad situation. Juvenile arrested, so I won't really expound on it. But after we arrested that juvenile, the same that container that has all the Radford spirit shirts and stuff got burglarized again. So the next day, and out of 2 of the burglars, we arrested them already. So and we're looking for that other person that hangs around Target. And the safety tip of the month: drive safely, don't drink and drive, please obey all traffic laws. And then I know I've been stressing the crime mapping a lot, and I just recently noticed that it's not on the HPD site anymore. So there's a long story behind it. But if you go to crimemapping.org and put your address and stuff, it still does work. And it updates all HPD cases still. So it's still operational, just not on the HPD website anymore.
Board, any questions for the lieutenant? Audience, any questions for Pro City Station? Thanks, Lieutenant, for coming on.
Thank you.
Kalihi Station.
Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant Christian Hatiko with the Kalihi Police Station. Let me give you the stats for the month of April. There was 1 aggravated assault, 4 auto thefts, 1 burglary, 1 sex assault, no robberies, no simple assaults, 3 thefts, and 2 UMVs. I apologize to the board. I don't have any hard copies for you guys today. I'm sorry about this. It's my first day back to work. I haven't gone into the station yet. I also checked crime mapping. The sex assault, it was a known suspect and he's already arrested in custody. So it's no danger to the public right now. I also noticed that there was, even though it doesn't reflect in our stats, and I'm not sure why, there was an armed robbery at the Papa John's in your area, gunpoint. And apparently it's the same person that had robbed another Papa John's at gunpoint in the Waipahu area. This was, I believe, near the end of the month. I'm sorry, I don't have my notes with me. And the suspect vehicle was described as a black BMW X3, so kind of a high-end luxury car with chrome rims. The guy always wears a ski mask, so the only description they have of him is he's a Filipino, they believe Filipino local male, 20s to 30s. Yeah, because he always has a ski mask on. Most of the burglaries that occurred were on the in the military housings. A lot of them were thefts from garages, that sort of thing. Suspect description we have for one was the guy riding around on a bright yellow moped. So if you're in your neighborhood, you see somebody cruising around on a bright yellow moped, it's likely the same person because there's not too many bright yellow mopeds in Kalihi. Stands out too much. For this month's tip, we've been having a lot of high-profile assaults of unfortunately our elderly people coming from bus stops, especially along the viaduct corridor limits. A lot of these elderly people have to go to work very early in the morning, and unfortunately, a lot of our houseless are mentally ill, stay around that area, and when they're having a bad day, everybody has a bad day. If you have someone in your family that's required to catch the bus, remind them. If you're at a bus stop or even if you're on the bus and you're coming up to the stop and you notice there's somebody there wilding out, acting weird, they don't have to get off the bus. They can talk to the bus driver. And a bus driver will stay with them. The bus will stay until the officer comes. And then we can either address the person or we can kind of escort them to work, if gotta be. We had one, the victim was in her 80s. She's just going to work at the Wendy's and she got beaten very badly. And unfortunately, when you have victims at that age, they cannot identify anybody because they're already, because of the age, it's impaired and all the homeless guys look the same. So we hit everybody we could. We arrested as many as we could. We tried to put as many people in front of her, but unfortunately she wasn't able to identify. So, but that is a point of emphasis for my guys now. We're making sure we're checking all the bus stops, all the travel corridors that people are walking, especially in the early morning hours when they're going to work or when they're coming home, and we try to address as much of that as possible. Any questions, sir?
Board, any questions for Kalihi Station? Audience, any questions for Kalihi Station? Lieutenant, give
Yes, sir.
kudos to Corporal Noli Galicia. He helped us with enforcement in our area with abandoned vehicles.
I will, sir. I will.
Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Everyone have a good evening.
Good reporting, both lieutenants. Thank you. Moving on our agenda, going to Neighborhood Board 18, Community Warrior of the Month. Just want to say in April, last month's meeting, Patty Igawa, a board member, she was our Warrior of the Month, but she didn't make the meeting. We'll take some photos. We just gave her a certificate this evening, and we'll take some photos with her after the meeting. Congratulations, Patty. Okay, we're moving on to our May 2025 Warrior of the Month. Warrior of the Month Award was established on August 8, 2024. An award certificate is presented at our monthly scheduled meetings to a person, persons, or group that provides outstanding service for the good of our community. The Warrior of the Month Award is presented to honor these people, past and present, who have greatly contributed unselfishly to help make Aliamanu, Salt Lake, Foster Village, and the airport area the best community district to live, work, and play. It is our belief that it is time and long overdue for our community to recognize these movers and shakers, and what better place to recognize these remarkable people right here at this Neighborhood Board 18 meeting often referred to as the People's Meeting. With that said, our Warrior of the Month Award for May 2025 goes to City Council Member Radiant Cordero and State House Representative Linda Ichiyama for their work in the community and being good role models for our young girls to emulate with their successes in public service. Congratulations, ladies. Both women are locals who are born and raised here on Oahu. Both participate in our community events, take pride in helping the community and getting things done for them. State House Representative Linda Ichiyama attended Salt Lake Elementary School, Mauna Loa Middle School, Mauna Loa High School, and the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where she received her law degree. She also attended the prestigious Georgetown University and received a bachelor's degree in international politics. Honolulu City Council member Radiant Cordero attended the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She dedicated her career to the community through various roles in nonprofit, journalism, and local government. She assisted agencies working with persons with disabilities and helping our keiki in leadership development. Before we present these certificates to the awardees and take photos, I wish to read the certificates being presented. Let us start with Councilmember Cordero, followed by Representative Ichiyama. Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18 wishes to recognize City Council Member Radiant Cordero for her years of public service and volunteerism to our community. Your dedication and partnership in the community speaks volumes of your commitment in serving others. Now the City Council's floor leader and representing our community, District 7, she has been an awesome role model for our young girls and young women in the community. Great role models are so important for our youth to have, as they are a source of inspiration for them, which impacts their lives significantly. These inspirational women like Councilmember Cordero are real-life superheroes for our children to look up and emulate their accomplishments. In 2024, the National League of Cities selected Councilmember Cordero to receive the Centennial Under 40 Impact Award, and the National Foundation for Women Legislators selected her to receive the Women of Excellence Award. This board takes great pleasure in presenting her with the Neighborhood Board 18 Warrior of the Month Award Certificate for May 2025. State House Representative Linda Ichiyama. The Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18 wishes to recognize State House Representative Linda Ichiyama for her years of public service and volunteerism to our community. Your dedication and partnership in the community speaks volumes of your commitment in serving others. Now Vice Speaker of the Hawaii House of Representatives, she has been an awesome role model for our young girls and young women in the community. Great role models are so important for our youth to have, as they are a source of inspiration for them, which impact their lives significantly. These inspirational women like Representative Ichiyama are real-life superheroes for our children to look up to and emulate their accomplishments. In 2023, Representative Ichiyama won the Bud Kramer National Advocacy Award from the National Children's Alliance in Washington, D.C. for outstanding extensive work with Hawaii's children so our keiki can be safe, accepted, and thrive in life. This board takes great pleasure in presenting her with the Neighborhood Board 18 Warrior of the Month Certificate for May 2025. Thank you. Okay, board, can we go up to the front here and awardees can join us, including our board member who was last month's awardee, so we can take a couple photos. Thank you.
It's your doing. It's your doing.
Of
course. Okay, moving on our agenda. We have the Salt Lake Waterway Community Cleanup Update. Secretary.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. We are very anxious about our upcoming July event. Yeah, so it'll be happening on July 12th. It's a Saturday. So from 1 to 3 at the Salt Lake District Park. We have a few flyers out there and I'll be sending it by email to my Army partners and my and my Navy partners. Yeah, so I'll be sending it out to your public relations people, also with the waiver form. But we're also going to be making Genki balls. Yes, another 1,000. Yes, yes. So we're seeing that really positive results are happening in the water. So I do believe we have Director Albano here this evening, and he's going to update us on the status of, the waterway situation. But July 12th will be the Saturday right after the 4th of July. So please go celebrate your 4th of July. And oh, I think they wanted to cut me. It's okay. Well, anyway, I can talk loud. All right. And so we'll be tossing 2 weeks later, we'll be tossing the Genki balls. So please join us. The Genki balls will be probably thrown actually closer to the Howard Shima Park instead of the Salt Lake District Park. Yeah, but we'll be cleaning the Salt Lake District Park area. There's a big area to clean. So yeah, please join us all. Okay, thank you.
Board, if no objections, since Mr. Albano is here, let's discuss this community Salt Lake Waterway community cleanup. That way he doesn't have to wait around the whole meeting.
Good evening, Chair Yomes, Neighborhood Board of my town, Salt Lake, and Aliamanu, and the rest of the members. G. Albano, Director and Chief Engineer of the Department of Facility Maintenance. I am here on behalf of Thomas Takeuchi to discuss a request on the inspections that have been made for the Salt Lake Waterway. And so I'm here to report that. And so at the beginning of 2025, in February 21st, Thomas Takeuchi went out for an inspection. He then followed up with a March 10th letter to Honolulu Country Club and identified some concerns with maintenance of the stream. it indicated that there was bok choy, overgrowth of bok choy throughout uh, the stream, the waterway along Country Club Village, as well as overgrown trees and overhang trees that was identified. So as such, there was a letter issued to the country club. And then on the end of the month, he did go back to see if there was some progress made. And there was some effort made by the country club to remove some of the bok choy. So it looked promising. So he then went back at the end of April 30th, and that's where he did not see any additional maintenance done on the overgrowth vegetation. As such, we are now in the process of seeing the next step to be taken that might include an issuance of a notice of violation. This is being vetted to ensure that the city has the legal right or legal basis to issue a violation. However, we certainly are trying to avoid that. We want to be partners with the country club because there are some potential issues when once a NOV is issued, and we would rather try to avoid that if we can collaboratively work with country club. So that is our intention, to continue to work with the country club. And it is our hope that the community will also collaborate with the city as well as the country club to see how we move forward. I was, as I mentioned, was raised in Salt Lake. I want to see the waterway be improved as best as possible moving forward. But we understand that in many times there's a need to push, and we will certainly take that step if needed. So with that, I will entertain any questions that you may have, and I will follow up accordingly.
Board, any questions regarding the waterway?
Director Albano. So I do understand that you do not want to send a notice of violation immediately. But my question to you is, how long does the community have to wait before the country club, follows through with what they're obligated to take care of? Right? We've done numerous cleanups on our own, spent our own money, our own time, our own resources. We've extended an olive branch to the country club, but yet they refuse to meet us in some kind of middle ground. You were present yourself at a number of these meetings where we've heard open-ended promises. Yeah, they see they're going to do, they're willing to help. But again, when we inform them of these events, nobody shows up. At what point can we, I guess, lean on them a little more and a little more harsher or stricter to get the job done?
Appreciate that, Doug. And it's been a year and a half since I joined, and I'm can be pretty assertive myself, and I am giving them, I don't want to say them, we want to work with the country club to see what can be done. And I will say that if there is no reasonable progress in their maintenance, we will then begin to the process of issuing a violation. I will premise it, as I mentioned, there are legal vetting concerns that we want to try to make sure that it is done with good intent and not have it become worse than good moving forward. And I hope you can somewhat uh, understand the approach that we're taking, but I understand as well that there's got to be some assertiveness as well. If you want a date, I would say end of the calendar year would be reasonable for me to come back and say, nothing's been done. Time to move forward with some assertiveness.
Board, any other questions? Right, second row.
You know, I understand you want to work with them. I would like to work with them, but they don't want to respond or cooperate. I've been there numerous times on my own personal time to reach out. Falls on deaf ears, right? You want to say, let's give them to the end of the year. This new ownership of the country club, they've owned the country club for a few years now. We've reached out during this time numerous times. Deaf ears. I think, I don't want to be mean or too critical, but I think a timeline of the end of the year is a little too lenient, in my personal opinion. You know, we've seen them clean up that pond area by, was it the 13th hole, numerous times in an effort to show face. Is it a front? To put on just a show, right? Like we are trying to do something and then nothing follows through. And me personally, working at the Country Club Village Association for a number of years now, I'm kind of tired. I dedicate my time. I dedicate my staff's time. The community is now getting involved, dedicating their time for over a year. And we're not seeing any help from the country club. I think end of the year is a little too lenient. I think the city needs to be a little more assertive. I am willing to accept something during the summer, maybe September at the very latest, but I would like to see progress sooner.
Now, yeah, so there's a couple of fronts that we can take. And this is where we're trying to explore various avenues besides the city's ordinance. There's also the state ordinance. There's the use of the Department of Health when it comes to nuisance, public nuisance, and the foul odor. And so this is where we want to be thorough in our thought and not have the country club come back and say this, how come you didn't think about this? We simply want to be able to be thorough in the rationale in issuing the notice of violation.
Secretary Connie Mar.
I would like to respond that also because the city has ownership on the lower side by the Howard Shima Lakini Street Mini Park, as well as the Country Club Village is then encroaching when we do certain activities. There has been complaints to the federal government. And so if we continue to do this, this opens up legal liability to the city as well as to the organizers as well. So that's why we do have to tread carefully and ensure that our ordinances, as well as the state statute, won't put us into further deep kimchi than we already are. Thank you.
Excuse me, I do want to thank Councilmember Cordero explaining. I am restricted in disclosing too much, and that therefore I'm trying to provide enough information that I don't put the city in a position, a tough position down the road.
I do have a question. You know, back in 2022, I already had contacted the Department of Health. They told me they can't do anything. Okay, so I never got, I invited them to come to a neighborhood board meeting. Their excuse was, oh, we don't do evenings. We're state workers and we were not able to attend a meeting at night. So anyway, then I went to DLNR and yeah, another one. And, you know, I got goose eggs with them too. They said, oh, well, it's a city ordinance. I said, I understand that. But then, you know what? It was originally you folks. It was the state. And then you dumped it on the city. So, you know, it goes hand in hand. You know, it's not a fair thing, you know, but at this point, we've been fighting this issue for over 15 years. And, you know, with the change of hands of ownership with this JJ Koo, who is the Korean owner right now, you know, I have a feeling that he's not making money. I mean, this is off the record, but it's on the record, that he's not quite making money. So I think he has intention to sell. And so they've been making some improvements in the physical part of the clubhouse and things of that sort. It's very cosmetic, and you know, it's for that look, right? But also to abide by the, you know, the ordinance, they actually cut the bok choy in that one area, and that's it. But they didn't complete it.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why we're following up.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it. But you
We
know,
will- Doug, I heard your request. I will see what can be done, but I will make no promises. And that's the reason I would rather say something that is a little bit more reasonable. And if I am able to, or we are able to get something out sooner, then it's the cliche, under promise, over deliver.
Audience, you want to chime in regarding this Salt Lake Waterway? Have any questions? Mr. Omar?
Thank you. Couple of things. First, Radiant, you came up and it was not clear to me, kind of mumbled. I missed a lot of what you're trying to communicate. If you
Okay.
can restate what you're saying and a little bit slower, thank you.
So, okay, so as I stated, majority of the Salt Lake Waterway is privately owned, right? And the reason why Director Albano, and he stated that he's being very careful at stating why he has to be legally vetting enforcement because of certain communications, negative communications that that have been directed towards the city and county of Honolulu, as well as the organizers for encroaching onto private property, which is the Honolulu Country Club. So we want to ensure that while we know that the cleanups do occur, that we want to, and we know that the community supports it, we support the community, that we want to take action that, I guess, protects the city from being more in deeper issues with the Environmental Protection Agency or the EPA, yeah, the EPA. So we don't want to get further. We're at this lowest level. We're the city, right? The city ordinances are basically can be trumped by the state, can be trumped, and then we all can be trumped by the federal government, right? And so with that, we're doing our best to be in our legal capacity, but we keep being forced with stricter and stricter guardrails, right? So while a bill and ordinance has passed in 2017, we continue to have to fix these guardrails so that we can better our enforcement is what I'm trying to say. And so that's why we want to do this properly and well and get the concurrence from our attorneys. Actually, I don't know anything, but for myself, I can state that separately from the city administration, I am separate from the executive branch. As a legislator, I can put the similar pressure that Department of Facility Maintenance Director, our Chief Engineer Albano is going to be putting with their communications. We will do so as well. I've already directed my team to do so. I don't know how we're going to show up. We know where their offices are. We know we have their cell phone numbers, but you know, the goose eggs, same thing. But we'll continue to be more present and more consistent in our presence at Honolulu Country Club, to Honolulu Country Club, and in every which way we can communicate with them.
So does that mean then that, I don't know if you can answer this question, so if you cannot answer it, that's okay. So does that mean that then the country club is threatening legal action?
No.
Like by complaint, see, a lot of times in order to do legal action, you have to have formal complaints. And they need to be notarized and they need to be on record, like, right? And there needs to be more than one, like I think 3. And then they'll throw a lawsuit or 2 or what, well, there needs to be more than 1. And then they can throw a lawsuit. And a lot of times the legal complaints is to set up a lawsuit. I don't know if you can answer this. If you cannot, that's fine.
I reserve our right not to say any more.
I have a couple questions. I just feel that this is a major ping pong match that the community is losing, and the ping pong match is between the city and Honolulu Country Club. 25 years ago, then council member Romy Cachola brought this up 25 years ago, tried to work with the country club to get this mess completed because the stench was so bad 25 years ago, and we're still having problems to this day. So it's just everybody don't want to accept responsibility. Or I had meetings with the country club as chair, was recent as last month. Basically what they said was, the city, their storm drains go into our waterway and they're creating a mess as well. So we
I
have
would
an issue with
respectfully
that.
disagree with that statement.
Well, that's what they're.
Unless, I hope you appreciate the situation that the city is in, and therefore the rationale of making sure that we collaborate with the country club. Because there's 2 sides of the story, I understand that, but there's got to be a common ground rather than taking the legal action that in many cases leads to no action. That's the reality. When we go through the legal action, it actually extends non-action.
The community extended and reached out to HCC to help us with these cleanups and stuff. It was a no-go from the beginning. They attended the first meeting and pretty much that was it. The management backed away and they didn't want to get involved. So these last year and a half, 2 years, since early 2024, the community took out money from their own pockets, this chair included and some of the other board members included. We paid for a lot of these cleanups with our own money because we couldn't get funds to clean this waterway up. But we made a 5-year plan, and we're committed to clean up this waterway as best as we can, as what we have. But we need help. We need the city to help. We need the HCC to help. They're just not doing it. Like I said, 25 years ago, we still at step 1 right now, I would say.
And so on the city side, so we understand that our drain systems go into the waterway. And so we have taken steps. We've installed 100 inlet filters back in 2011 along the major roads along Likini, Napunani, Aliamanu, along with Lilikoi and Napua'a. We then tried to install additional automatic retractable screens at the catch basins. But unfortunately, the contractor back in 2014 couldn't do that. So we now are in a process of trying to terminate that contract and rebid it out so that we can continue to provide systems that will minimize any runoff contaminants into the waterway. That's the city's obligation, and we are doing our best to do that. We had placed a hydrodynamic separator at no, we actually, last year, we added debris basins along Likini Street by Salt Lake Elementary School. We are planning to put hydrodynamic separators and then also making sure that we are trying to reconstruct, redesign any of our existing catch basins. So the city is doing their part in terms of planning, proactively trying to maintain the drainage system before it enters the Salt Lake waterway.
Sorry, may I add to that, Chair Yomes? I'd have to say, as a neighbor who has an apartment that oversees the waterway as well and has been to all the homes. So yes, while the waterway has drainage systems that go into it, it's at the lower end or more Mackay end. And while the parts that need to be maintained are parts that they say the drainage goes into. However, that's not the part where they need to drain itself. So they're using an argument, but for different places. And for me, it comes down to them doing their job. And so we all have the same goal. And definitely timeline is not fast enough. And that's why 25 years ago when then I think when he was a council member, Roman Cachola got the, I think, state to do it. It was a one-off thing. It was a one-off thing, and I think told then Howard Shima maybe that, or I don't know who it was, but that it couldn't be done again, and that this is going to set a precedence. But we're going to do it, but we may not be able to do it again. And so that was what I recall. I talked to a lot of the neighbors that allowed me to go onto the waterway part and said that's what they recall as well. So I just want to say that we have the same goal. And I don't know. I actually just learned all the things that DFM did just now. So thanks. Thanks.
I agree that the city, what you guys trying to do, but it doesn't stop people, ignorant people, from putting in chemicals, paints within the storm drain system. But like I said, that's something else. But I cannot believe that, not repeating myself, that 25 years and we still where we at now. My second question was, when I met with the Honolulu Country Club, they mentioned that the prior owners got over $1 million in a grant to clean up this waterway and they didn't do anything. So that's why they were upset about, after they bought it, they should have done their homework and they would have found out about it. But they didn't do their homework. But now they crybabying about, oh, they took the $1 million and ran. But is there an investigation by the government that who stole this money and did nothing to this waterway and pocketed over $1 million? We need to find that out and investigate, because somebody got rich over the waterway and sure wasn't the community.
As a neighbor to the Salt Lake Waterway, I was wondering how the former ownership got that duck boat that would dredge. And so while we don't know that specifically because they give zero communications to the city except to provide us with complaint letters to the federal government, then I did not know that, and that's a great recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
So we'll find out. Do you know if it was a federal grant? It's likely a federal grant. I
I believe the city helped them to get a federal grant, city or state helped them get a federal grant, and the money was given to Honolulu Country Club to clean up specifically the waterway. And then I believe a year or two after they sold, and this is according to the country club management, they said the prior owners took the money and didn't do anything to the waterway. And that's why they're upset and they got stuck with it. But like I said, when they bought the place, they should have done their homework and they would have found out all about all of this stuff. So more of a gripe with Honolulu Country Club. I got some other stuff that I'm going to do as chair and trying to get this done for the community. But we need to look at that, and the city and the state needs to look at where the money went and follow the paper trail. Mr. O'Moore,
Yeah, didn't the last prior administrations fine the country club? Remember they came here and they said they fined them because of the waterway thing? They didn't do anything and they got fined. They came down here, the last administration, that city, I forgot the guy's name. And he said, yeah, we're gonna sue them. We're gonna fine them, I mean.
I-
Was that
question-
followed through?
was that, Mr. O'Moore, was that a question for the chair?
Yeah,
My recollection was that they related that they were going to fine the country club, but they didn't take action at that time. So again, we're here. So, any other questions, board? Mr. Fujogo?
Just not a comment or a question. I don't know. I would just like to suggest, obviously, we're not going to settle this issue tonight. May I please request if we can set up a meeting at a later date? For
And that's
all of
what
us,
I was going to suggest.
for all of
that
us to
I
sit
will
down,
personally come
talk
and meet,
together.
and if we want to just march to ACC, see if we can talk, be assertive in that capacity, I'm okay with that.
I think let's start with, let's have a sit down,
Okay,
some of the members from the community and yourself, if you're available.
Yep.
And let's figure out where we can go from here.
Chandra
then-
has my email, so
I
she
think
can
that's,
coordinate the,
I think that's the
the
important
meeting,
thing.
yeah.
We just try to find a way to move forward.
appreciate that, yes.
Mr.
So
Obama?
we are like-minded in our approach to collectively see what we can do and then tackle the situation moving forward.
I thank both of you for coming out and sharing the information and listening to our concerns. And hopefully we can move the ball on this and get something done for the community. Mr. O'Moore, is that his third question?
third time.
Okay, last, third is the charm.
This one is to, for you, Chairman, again, Chairman Yomes. Is there a way, like, maybe like the board can do something as a board, like, maybe like if we can make a resolution where we can send the country club like a certified letter kind of thing of like the meeting you guys said you guys are gonna plan? So that if there are no meetings and stuff, at least you can say that, hey, you guys got the notice, because the big excuse that always comes out is, we didn't know. Nobody told me. I know you talked to these guys. So by sending something certified that they have to, it goes on file and record. All these problems, to me, it seems like they're not on record. They're on hearsay. And I think in order to get something done, we need something concrete. And from maybe our end, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, maybe the board can do something to help create some concreteness.
So, Mr. O'Moore, we've communicated with the country club and send out information, but they're still, at this point, they don't want to really move on it. As far as a resolution, I would leave it into the city's hands and let them deal with the country club, because the resolution to them is not going to mean anything. We already have documentation as far as communicating with the management at the golf course. And this has been going on for the last 2 years, so I don't think more communication will do anything. I think the city and the HCC needs to get together and solve this and find out where this money went to clean this place up. Any questions, audience? Thank you both for
Well, thank you very much for
Communicating with
allowing
us
me,
and
and
at least giving us the
thank
heads
you
up
for
of
your
what was
grace
going
and
on.
patience. Sincerely, thank you for your grace and patience.
And I promise next time you come, I won't let Mr. O'Moore ask 3 questions.
Oh, no worries. That is part of our job. More the merrier, quite honestly. I don't mind. Yes. And you got me out of town hall tonight, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other events or concerns that the board want to bring up or the audience? Board, you have any? Audience, any? Okay, let's move on to Aloha Stadium.
Aloha Chair Yomes, members of the board and members of the community. Chris Kinimaka, Special Projects Manager for the Department of Accounting and General Services. I'm joined with Chris Sariasu, who's the interim stadium manager for the Aloha Stadium. Hopefully a little bit more positive news we're sharing today. Last month, we reported that Aloha Aloha District Partners was beginning their due diligence site investigations. We're happy to report they're pretty much done with their hazardous materials and structural investigations of the existing facility. Soil investigations continue, but as those results start to roll in, they are pumping that information into their preliminary designs for the stadium and for the entire district. We were given a sneak peek at their concepts this week, an update, and happy to say they're still very encouraging. So excited, and we're looking forward to more of that information rolling in. Last week, we also saw the close of the 2025 legislative session. So in the handouts, we gave the update of the 6 bills we were tracking. If you start with the side that has House Bill 300, which is a state budget, those first 3 bills are the only ones of the 6 that did make it to the governor's desk for consideration. The state budget bill did go through, and sadly, our language requesting raising the expenditure ceiling for the Stadium Development Special Fund was not included. So that limits the amount of work we can do upfront for the development of the district. And a big part of that was even trying to advance the demolition work sooner than the stadium contract work that we're negotiating. House Bill 1007 did also go through, and that is positive. It allows HCDA to consider giving revenue bonds or issuing revenue bonds and looking at alternative types of financing to fund public TOD infrastructure, which the stadium is a part of. So we're looking forward to working with HCDA if the governor signs this into law. The third one that passed through was a Senate Bill 583 relating to naming rights, really reinforcing the Stadium Authority and the Convention Center Authority to license the advertising of naming rights for the facility. The next bill, House Bill 1494, was a controversial one. That was one that was trying to take the money away from the stadium and give it to UH. The language was swapped out with Senate Bill 1589. Both of those bills did not pass. Both of those bills were also alternative opportunities for the stadium to raise their budget ceiling. Those not passing, again, that opportunity is dead for this session. The last bill we looked at was Senate Bill 891 for economic development to establish a tourism and gaming working group. Although that bill did not pass, and I didn't put it on the summary, I just want to give you a heads up to watch for Senate Concurrent Resolution 121. It basically emulates the same initiatives as Senate Bill 891, and it includes language that allows the co-chairs to invite parties having relevant experience and expertise to be part of the working group. So I think if you as a community want to actively participate in that, you might want to encourage them that you do have expertise and knowledge that would be very valid to the types of tourism and gaming working group information that would go into districts like ours. And with that, I'll go ahead and encourage you to go ahead and check out our latest NACID newsletter that was issued last week, Monday. It's also available on our nacid.hawaii.gov website. And I'll pass on to Chris Sariasu.
Thanks, Chris. And so updates from the stadium itself, the swap meet marketplace, relocation work continues in the upper Halava lot. And so projected work of the restriping and getting everything moved is to be done in mid-June with a early summer or July or August start of the relocation work. And that's really tied to the demolition of the stadium because they'll be no longer able to use the ring around the stadium. It'll just be moved to the upper Halava lot. And then right now we have a new contest seeking local artists to use some of the corrugated metal around the field. And it's a opportunity for a local artist to provide a design for us that will be displayed at our new location of the swap meet. So we have a stipend available, and so go to the alohastadium.hawaii.gov website, and we're accepting applications through June 6th, and we'll be selecting, and then the installation is due in the fall of 2025. We're available to any questions that you guys have.
Board, any questions for the stadium? Still more?
Uh, this is just a thought question, yeah. Is the state possibly planning or maybe willing to even think that, to allow like billboard advertising, utilizing major possible future large donors, which we don't have in Hawaii and we've never had in Hawaii? Whereas like the mainland stadiums, all, those big ones have these major, huge that donate millions a year that if we could get one of them would help fund our stadium and the upkeep, both the creation, building, and update of it. You think is the state where they negotiate? Are you guys negotiating for something like that?
I think we saw last year how the billboard bill went down in flames. It's just not popular. But the naming rights is a first start. We're being able to name the buildings on our site and exhibit those signs as part of advertising. So at least with that, we're starting the endeavor. We really don't want to make enemies in the community either on billboard laws. So we'll start small. We do.
Exceptions for the
We
rule.
are allowed to do big signage that faces inward to the district. And that is huge too, though, because as you can imagine, that is a wayfinding way. It's a gateway. It allows the district itself to generate activity and, revenue generation. So that still does allow signage facing inwards. Just thank you.
Board, any other questions for the stadium? Audience, any questions for the stadium? No? I have one.
You're smiling.
How's the parking situation once the stadium is built? Is there sufficient parking?
Yes, the developer is looking actually at more parking than we were looking at, with considerations for multimodal accessing with the rail, with the bus transit center, and really increasing the access to the site for the community, because now we're bringing the community in. We're looking at providing ample parking as, shared parking, and as events move through, we're really looking at preventing the backup of traffic onto the ancillary roads, getting people in and out much more quickly. So that is a huge consideration.
The reason I asked that, I was sort of surprised that the government, the state didn't move on trying to get that shopping center next to McDonald's when Kmart moved out and stuff. There was they could have made a multi-level parking structure, and that would be close enough for people utilizing the stadium or NASA. They could just walk over and still have McDonald's and whatever else that's going to be in there, Starbucks, I don't know, whatever. But just a thought how the parking situation will be. And secondly, are we still on schedule 2028? Everything goes, alignment is still there?
There's still that opportunity to hit that date. It's getting tight. There's a lot of work that has to be done. And with some of the delays with what we're seeing in the legislature, again, everyone's just rowing hard in the same direction. No new date yet besides that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on our agenda, the military, let's start with the Army. Oh, he's hiding back there.
Good evening, Chair Yomes, board members, community members, Johnny Pratt, Lieutenant Colonel, Deputy Brigade Commander for 516th Theater Signal Brigade, and Army Representative to the Neighborhood Board. Tonight, I have a couple of announcements. First is on our upcoming job fair that U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii will be holding on the 24th of June at Kapolei High School, beginning at 8:30 and ending at 2 p.m. It's open to the public. There will be provisional hiring on the spot the day of the job fair. Individuals can go to www.himwr.com for additional information. We ask that individuals walking in looking for jobs bring 2 references and proof of ID, and that will help to facilitate the process. Okay, this year is the Army's 250th birthday. And the community is invited to join in on some of the festivities that we have. So U.S. Army Pacific Command is celebrating Army Heritage Week at Fort Durussi on Monday, June 12th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will be displays of military vehicles, equipment, and emergency technologies. In addition, you can come speak with some soldiers, learn of their experiences and about different career paths that the Army provides, including careers on active duty, reserve, National Guard, and special operations. Final note tonight for me, the Oahu final EIS environmental impact statement is in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act and the Hawaii Environmental Policy Act. The Army will publish this final environmental impact statement in May this month for the Army training land, retention of the state lands at Kahuku Training Area, Po'omahu Training Area, and the Makua Military Reservation. The proposed action is an administrative action that does not include construction, modernization, or changes in any of the ongoing training in these areas. This final EIS assesses the environmental impacts of the proposed action alternatives and if there are no alternatives that are taken. Once the EIS is published, there will be a 30-day waiting period followed by the record of decision that will come later this summer. Any concerns, you can call the community concern line at U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii at 808-787-1528 or email at usag.hawaii.comrel@army.mil. I'm open to any questions.
Board, any questions for Lieutenant Colonel? Audience, any questions for the Army? Thank you, sir. Okay, next, Space Force. The Navy, thank you.
Hey, aloha, good evening, Chair Yams and board members. I just have a couple of quick items that I'd like to share with the board and the community. Starting with the Red Hill Navy Closure Task Force has been starting up a new newsletter. It's called Red Hill Highlights. We left some copies on the table if anybody wants to pick them up, but they're also online on the website for the Navy Closure Task Force. An upcoming event is that the Closure Task Force is going to be holding an open house on May 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Hokulani Community Center, which the address is 298 Main Street, but I don't know if anybody really even knows where Main Street is, but it's right near Center Drive and Kamehameha Highway at that intersection. Once you get there, you can find where the Hokulani housing area is. And I also wanted to mention as well that this year the Navy celebrates its 250th anniversary in October. So the Army, yes, is a little older than the Navy. And one of the things that we here in Hawaii have been doing is a project called Laulima 250. And so that actually started in October of 2024. And the goal is to have 250 community service events before the birthday comes up. And so that's one of the reasons why we've been participating in, the Salt Lake waterway cleanup and other projects. But that's not, we're we're going to continue to do that. I'm committing to you now. We're going to continue to do that long after we meet, 250 in October of this year. And since April, we had hit more than 150 out of the 250. So we're well on course to doing the 250 community service projects that we wanted. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you folks might have.
Board, any questions for the Navy? Audience, any questions for the Navy? I have one. How much projects you have now? What's,
More than 150 at this point.
is
So
it-
we're more than halfway there.
my garage needs cleaning. Can you help us with that?
Yeah. Maybe unofficially I could ask for volunteers, but I'll have to check with legal on that one.
Thank you for coming.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Let's go to city, Board of Water Supply. They're not coming this evening. Let's move on to Mayor Langiardi's office. They're not coming. They have a mayor's town hall at Castle High School, I believe. Councilmember Cordero.
Aloha neighbors, board, Chair Yomes, and community who will watch us later. This is Radiant Cordero, your neighbor in Salt Lake, as well as your Honolulu City Council member. And I just wanted to share some updates with you all. First off, you have a lot of community responses and requests, but I do want to update you all since we are in the midst of the budget. I do want to note that along with the budget, actually last year, there was a bill to put overt video monitoring at certain spots in beach parks. And so I modeled a resolution 25 60, actually, I can't remember what it is right now, but 25 something to have the overt video monitoring. This was post the discussion that the board had regarding the break-ins at Salt Lake District Park. So we've had the Department of Information Technology checking in on the different high-speed internet that we have capabilities for the overt video monitoring. Sorry, I know Rep. Shimizu has heard this spiel so many times, but this is when we say overt video monitoring, we don't mean it's Big Brother. It just means that you can see the camera. Like we can see the camera here right now, right? Versus a camera that is covert, hidden, where it's not meant to be seen. And we hope that we will be able to have it with a blue light on it. However, we are looking at our options because those types of cameras, we need to find a US producer or manufacturer for that as well. And so we're looking at that so we can figure out how much that we can provide. So with that, we have a resolution for a pilot for all 9 council districts because I believe that it shouldn't just be in my district. We know, as you've seen on the news in Wahiawa, we saw that the playground was burned. And so that we want to be able to have each district have a spot for a pilot. And then we will start from there. So HPD as well as our Department of Information Technology has been amazing at providing us with possible information numbers so that we can provide that and also what they would need to have at each park that would support those things, those cameras. So it will be going out for, because it involves cameras, it needs to go through more committees, or more public meetings than a regular resolution. It will go through 3 versus the regular 2. So it will go to the city council first, and hopefully it will be on the agenda next week. But the main part will be when it goes to committee thereafter. I am unsure if it's going to go to public safety or if it's going to go to parks. I will let you all know. Hopefully you get my emails already, but it will be a call to action to the whole district to submit testimony for it. So you will see that one of the concerns about the fence was mended at the park there as well. And so I just wanted to highlight that. And let's see what else. Yeah, there's more information. Oh, it's resolution 25-128. And I do want to note that we talked about naming rights bills. At the end of last year, it's interesting. You have two elected officials in your area that have introduced sort of naming rights bills. Mine is relating to sponsorships, where in the same manner, I introduced this bill last year to have sponsorships and city buildings on city facilities. So I'm not trying to like rename parks because there's a different process for that, but like, you know, having like a recognition of a sponsorship within a certain facility. So that just passed this 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, and we'll be able to hopefully work on this further. So it's interesting that both my bill as well as Senator Barkai's bill were going at the same part, but I introduced it first, by the way. We never even talked to each other. So, you know, I guess same idea. Anyway, I did just want to keep it short so I can take questions. And I know that I have noted about the super dog park at Kiahi, so very much aware of that. As you all have heard the call of the city administration for more dog-friendly parks. And yeah, and just everyone, if you have keiki or grand keiki that you want to sign up for summer fun, be ready to fight for those spots because that's going to be opening up next week. So I know that my staff who have keiki are going to have to be doing that. With that, I know I probably have so much more to report, but I just want to be able to be here for you all. Thank you.
Before I open up to questions, Councilwoman, on behalf of the community and this board, I'd like to thank you for getting those crosswalks repainted at Salt Lake Boulevard, Ala Lilikoi and Ala Lilikoi and Ala Lima. They've now been completed. Thank you so much for
Thank you
having
all.
City DOT to rush it.
Thank you very much.
Any questions, board, for the city council member? Audience, any questions for the council member? Thank you.
Thank you, and I really appreciate your support for those, for any resolutions that would help keep safety in our parks. Thank you.
Moving on our agenda. Governor Josh Green's office, anybody? Senator Glenn Wakai? There she is.
Good evening, Chair Yomes, for Neighborhood Board. Ashley here representing Senator Wakai. He's currently taking a well-deserved vacation. But I just wanted to give you guys some highlights. So I know that you had asked Ms. Kinemaka here about the naming rights. There is a flyer on the back table that has all the legislative bills. But I just wanted to touch on SB 583. It allows for naming rights on the side of the stadium. So like you were saying that a corporation could put its logo on the side there. Also HB 1007 opens the door to bond financing of infrastructure around the transit districts and stuff like that. So just wanted to give you some of those highlights because you were concerned about that. As you read Senator's end of the session newsletter, you will see the first caption there is how we spent your tax dollars. There's a pie chart there. If you would like it sent to you, I could disseminate to the board later via email. There is also a clickable link that I had sent on the PDF that takes you to a actual physical breakdown. So you could explore that here. If and always, if anything, you are always welcome to call our office so that I can walk you through it. And we also wanted to highlight some new funding for capital improvement projects through Radford as well as Salt Lake Elementary School. You can read that there. And of course, the fireworks safety from last year. We wanted to let you know that there were some bills that Senator had advocated for to strengthen fireworks safety laws. HB 806 funds sting operations and a new explosives lab. HB 550 authorizes the use of drones to support investigations, whereas before we weren't able to do that. And HB 1483 updates penalties and protects lives. That's it. I'm open and available for any questions or comments.
Are there any questions for the senator? Audience, any questions? Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
You're on to House Representative Linda Ichiyama.
Aloha board members, my name is Becca Kim. I am here for Representative Ichiyama. And in the community updates, you'll find that where the bills are currently now, and it explains how you can keep track of them and also information about reaching the office. And always representative is happy to take your calls and also any emails that you have to explain any certain situations. And also you can expect representatives' end of session newsletter, which will highlight bills. And there will be things about, obviously the fireworks. And also, yes, if you again have any questions, I'm here and I'm happy to take them to the representative or any comments. Thank you.
Board, any questions for the representative Ichiyama? Audience, any questions? Thank you, Becca. Moving on to House Representative Garner Shimizu.
Hello, Chair Yomes, board members and members of the community. Representative Garner Shimizu here. I'm glad that I'm here. The session ended last week, Friday, so I'm more available to attend these meetings, and I missed you guys. As some of the previous legislators mentioned, and even Aloha Stadium, some of the important legislation that went through. I just wanted to touch on a couple that didn't make it. One was sports betting, and another one was legalization of marijuana. And I just want to let you know I'm out there. I voted against those things because I do not believe in legalizing recreational marijuana or sports betting. So unfortunately, Chris, I'm sorry, I did vote against SCR 121 also because I don't believe it's a good thing, but I'm optimistic that Aloha Stadium can manage and get additional funding, and I support Aloha Stadium all the way. It's in our district. Thank you to Stanford Carr and his development team. Tell him thank you. Thank you for sticking his neck out and really running the race, because he's a very quality person, and that's what we're looking for, is partnership with the community, which I think is going to be a great addition to our community when it's done. You have my newsletter, just some highlights that are on there, and just some public service announcements. Mayor Blangiardi is going to have a town hall at Radford High School cafeteria, May 22nd, 6:30. There's also something about public input for dog parks or dog usage at our parks. So they are inviting public input for that. Salt Lake Library, this Saturday from 12 to 3, there is tech support for Kupuna. We all need help on that. And Friday, May 30th from 4 to 7 at Pearl Ridge Shopping Center, there is a mental health resource fair. And mental health is paramount to a lot of the issues and problems that our community faces. But other than that, I am open for questions.
Were there any questions for the representative, Mr. Omora?
Hi, Garner. Good to see you again. Missed you. The question I have is, what time is the May 22nd townhouse at Radford High School?
6:30, Radford High School cafeteria for Mayor Blangiardi Town Hall. That was an easy one. Thank you.
Yeah, no questions for the representative? Audience, any questions? Representative Shimini? Thank you, sir, for
All
coming
right,
out.
thank you.
Okay, let's move on. We have the City Department of Transportation regarding the proposed bus service changes for opening of the second phase of Skyline.
Aloha Board. I'm Daniel Alexander with the City and County of Honolulu Department of Transportation Services. Thank you so much for having us tonight. As you might be aware, on October 1st, we will be opening the second phase of Skyline. It'll go to Middle Street to a Kahoiki station. There we'll link up with Kalihi Transit Center. And all the extension, I believe, is within your neighborhood board area except for the tail end of it. So you'll have a big change in improvement to your transit system. And we do have some proposed changes to the bus system to make it all function better and serve more riders. And yeah, make it all work really well. So these are proposed. It's an emphasis. We're here to share about them, and we want to hear any feedback you might have. We are receiving comments, and we have a website that has all the information we're going to get tonight. It's publicly available. So we just want to make sure as many people know about as possible, and we have opportunity to get any input they might have. The presentation is going to be given by our consultant with PBR Hawaii, Dave Simpson. So I'll turn it over to him. Thank you.
Aloha Chair, aloha to the board. Thank you for having me. My name is Dave Simpson. I'm with PBR Hawaii, and as was mentioned, I'm a consultant with Department of Transportation Services. So the purpose of this presentation is to share changes to the bus routes that are under consideration by DTS. DTS and their consultants are seeking community input for making these bus route changes. So this is one of 14 neighborhood boards that we are giving this presentation and seeking input and feedback. The purpose for considering the bus route changes is to integrate the bus routes with the Skyline. So the next phase of Skyline will be opening this fall, October 1st, which will be connecting people with more employment centers. And so now is the time to consider how we can make the network more efficient and integrate bus route with the Skyline expansion. So in this presentation, I'll share information about the next series of stations to be open and the bus route changes that are under consideration for these adjustments, the timing, and also provide information on how people can provide their comments. So as we're all aware, the current Skyline extends from East Kapolei over to Aloha Stadium. With the expansion, which will begin on October 1st, the extension will continue on from East Kapolei all the way to Middle Street. So with this extension, not only will we be considering bus route changes, but the Skyline will actually be expanding their hours pretty significantly. So I believe you all have handouts and printouts, so follow along. And I have some more in the back if anyone in the audience wants to follow. But you can see that the hours will be expanded quite significantly. And buses making changes to accommodate the rail extension, and bus hours will also be increasing to improve service. So that's what we are considering. So there will be 3 phases with the bus route changes that will coincide with this October 1st rollout of phase 2 for the Skyline. The first one actually began in March and was completed. So the changes that were implemented in March were for bus route 44, 47, 461, and 415. So these were to accommodate the rail extension in anticipation of the October 1st rollout. And I just want to keep in mind, so with the 3 phases with the rollout, this will actually be increasing bus hours by 3%, which is equivalent to 40,000 hours annually. And so next I'll begin talking about phase 2, which is what's under consideration for October 1st. And bear with me, but I'll go through a lot of these. But first I want to give you a diagram of sort of how the vision of the integration could be accomplished with the bus route, rapid bus routes connecting to the extension of the Skyline stations. And the first one I'll talk about is the proposed A-line truncation. So in addition to the changes, the hours will actually be expanding as well. As you can see here, the current A-line goes until 8:30. That'll be expanded later for weekdays as well as the weekends. And so this is the existing A-line. And then here you can see how it be truncated. So a lot of the redundancy, as you can see here, along the extension of Skyline with phase 2 will be changed so that A-line will connect at Lagoon Drive at the new Lagoon Drive station. See that there, as well as Middle Street. This next slide shows how Route 20 will be discontinued in favor of a new line, which will be the W line. So you can see here the dashed line represents the existing Route 20. And you can again see how there's redundancy with the extension of Skyline here. So the changes will now connect to the airport station, as well as Lagoon Drive. And the route will be changing as well through the downtown core. So it's very similar to the existing Route 20, but the new W line will still extend into Waikiki with a slight change where it will continue through the downtown core, staying along Nimitz Highway instead of going through the downtown core. So again, the intention of these changes are to sort of make rapid bus routes that will have less stops, more frequent service, and be a little bit more efficient as we kind of connect with the Skyline. So here's a little bit more of a close-up view. You can see where the changes are. Again, the green dashed lines represent the existing 20, and the connection now will be slightly different. As you can see there on the right, the change will go along Nimitz Highway through the downtown core as compared to the existing Route 20, which goes through downtown along Beretania and King Street. And here we have a newly proposed bus route, which is U line, which will be connecting from Mapunapuna to UH Manoa. So this connection will happen again at Lagoon Drive. So you'll be able to connect the Skyline to this new line, which will be a rapid transit that connects and goes along H1, exiting over to University Ave, and then following along to Dole Street. So the intention of this will have, it'll be less frequent, it'll be weekday service only, but this will provide more access for people to connect the Skyline to other areas of the island, including UH Manoa here. Another change which will impact this area is the discontinuation of Route 303. Again, you can see that similar to others, there is some redundancy with the extension of the Skyline. So very similar to the existing 303, it'll still connect to Pearl Harbor, Hickam. And here's the proposed Route 331. And again, you can see it's very similar with the connection, but it actually will connect to the Skyline station at the Makalapa station, the Pearl Harbor Hickam station. And another route change, the impacting, or proposed change, I should say, will be impacting Route 40, 42, and 51. So this slide shows some of the changes to the existing route, how it will connect to Skyline. So these will connect to Lagoon Drive, and rather than extending further out to the existing station at Aloha Stadium, it will connect to the Wahiwa route and connect to Pearl Highland Station. And another change will be over in Kapolei. This is a change just to the frequency of the Route 46. So the changes here are sort of adjustments to meet demand. So these will be changing from the current 10-minute frequency to 15 minutes. And these are the These will be for the October 1st again changes. So this will run from Kapolei over to UH West Oahu Station, connected to the skyline there. As I mentioned, there is a phase 3, which is part of this. And this is sort of just a preview of what's being considered. So here you can see the proposed future changes. So this is a full system under the phase 3, which should show the rapid routes, including the C line and E line, which are being proposed in addition to the U line, A line, and W line that we already discussed. Here you can see the proposed C line, which currently connects Makaha to town. So the changes that are being proposed here will be continuing to connect from Makaha, but instead of connecting all the way through town, going through all the traffic along the H1, it will connect directly to the Skyline station. Oh, and this is the UH West Oahu station. I apologize. Yep. And again, the idea behind this is to sort of connect to the Skyline. So instead of having the bus staying along the H1 and being in traffic, it'll make for a more efficient system, fewer stops, and kind of keep out of traffic during peak times. Another proposed change is to the E line. So the E line, which currently connects to downtown, what's being proposed is sort of a Mauka to Makai connection to Wahiwa, from Wahiwa to Eva Beach. So instead of, I believe currently it connects from Eva Beach into town, this is how it's being proposed to extend up to Wahiwa. And again, making connections to the Skyline. And that's it for me. Mahalo. Again, I did want to mention, I apologize. For any comments, we are offering the bus stop at honolulu.gov to provide any comments. So as I mentioned at the beginning, the purpose of this is to provide to accept feedback from the community. So we'd appreciate if you want to pass this message along. We would love to get more feedback and sort of consider that. And please provide by July 15th.
Board, do you have any comments? Still more, please go to the bus stop. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Moore.
Okay. I have some things to bring up because we are the Salt Lake Neighborhood Board. There was some controversy when the rail was first planned and supposed to be built that we're supposed to have a rail stop in Salt Lake. Representative Cachola worked hard to get that there. And then for some reason, behind everybody's back, they got switched over to the airport. And we were promised by the city that they're going to give us 10-minute shuttles, from Salt Lake to the lagoon thing. And the lagoon one would be the substitute as far as what the Salt Lake, us people in Salt Lake would do. I haven't seen anything. What's happening?
Sure. I can't really speak to that. So I'm only privy to sort of the bus route integration with the Skyline. So as far as what was proposed previously, I'm not as familiar. I'm not sure. But I can pass that along to DTS and sort of pass on that feedback. And unfortunately, I can't answer that question for you. Yeah.
So when can you come up with or when will there be an answer for that question?
I can't give you a timeline for that, unfortunately.
Because there's a lot of emotional issues with a lot of people in Salt Lake. And that's why I brought the question up, because there's a lot of people that talk to me as well.
Sure.
And there's some emotions riding high because of this. And then like I told certain people that, hey, don't worry about it. They'll come through. But because of what happened, they're telling me, I doubt it, Joe, that we're going to get screwed again. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because I want to make sure that we're not forgotten in Salt Lake. I mean, there are some of us here that do catch the bus a lot, and we would like to catch the rail. I do ride the rail personally myself, probably maybe twice or 3 times a week. So,
So it's really about connections to the station, bus routes.
And it's not by the bus, because they said the bus is too big, that they would make like little shuttles that would be running every 10 minutes through certain corridors, like a set route. So maybe the bus would drop off people at those stops, and then the shuttles, because they will be continuous and in short intervals. But then I'm hearing contrary, like we're not gonna get nothing. So that's why people are, that's the rumor that's been going around. So I told certain people, like the McDonald's gang, I told them that, don't worry about it. They're gonna come through and I'll make sure.
Sure. Yeah. Sure to pass that along. Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Done? Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, the audience, any questions regarding the bus? All right.
Actually, a little bit more of a comment than a question on it, but Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickham's really been interested in this because the Makalapa station is right across the street from the Makalapa Gate. And, the shipyard is the largest industrial employer in the entire state. And we're trying very diligently to get as many cars off the road as possible and have more folks who work on Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam take the rail or the Skyline and then get off at Makalapa Station. And so we've been working with the city and county to adjust the bus inside the fence line so that we can get workers from that station to their workplaces more efficiently. And we'll have more information to share as we get closer to this particular opening. But I just wanted to share that with the folks in the community that we're really trying to get cars off the road as much as possible.
Thank you for that. Or any other questions before I get Mr. Omori's fifth question? Go ahead, Mr. Omori.
The question I have now is, you guys see the rail used to have a representative like about 5, 6, 10, whatever, so many years ago. They would come to the meetings and give us a rail update. That person left and we haven't had a rail representative. So is it possible to have some kind of spokesperson like, we have you for our stadium representative that comes down to our meetings? I mean, you don't have to come, they don't have to come to every single meeting, but, at least once in a while, maybe once a quarter, someone could come by and say, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. This is what's happening because, this part of the rail is going to concern us in Salt Lake. So that's why it's a concern thing. And it's like, it's to reassure the 25,000, just the Salt Lake 1 mile. It's just the 1 mile corridor, right? With the high rises, there's over 25,000 people living there. So we're just kind of, we just would like to be kept in a loop rather than just given this last second announcement, like, oh, we're opening next week. And it's like, whoa.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason we're getting feedback now. I mean, this is sort of in anticipation of October 1st. So I appreciate the comments. So I pass that along.
Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving on, our board action resolution regarding a super dog park at Aloha Stadium in K Lagoon Park, sorry. The reason I brought, this is on the agenda, we had a letter from the director of Department of Parks and Recreation, Laura Thielen. I guess they sent it to all the boards, 33 boards, and naming certain parks in each board district. So the letter was sent, and board, I did send it to you folks. And since all these names of dog parks that was named that didn't have dogs, exclusive dog park activities, I decided to do a resolution so we can basically address this for our board. So I'm going to read the resolution and then we can discuss it as a board, pluses or minuses, and we'll take a vote as if we're going to send this to the city and with any corrections. Okay, start the resolution regarding the expansion of dog-friendly parks, specifically at K Lagoon Park. Recommending the city and county of Honolulu implement and construct an off-leash, on-leash super dog facility on the grounds of K Lagoon Park located at 465 Lagoon Drive. Whereas currently there are 308 city parks on Oahu, only 36 parks have leash dog parks and 10 others have off-leash dog parks. a total of 46 park locations for dogs. Whereas the city and county of Honolulu should find creative ways to provide more accommodations in public parks for our dogs to enjoy with their responsible owners. This will promote a healthier lifestyle for both the dog and its owner. Whereas, however, a proper balance has to be weighed in having parks that are not dog friendly to protect our keiki and kupuna from attacks and fear of such. Whereas our children and seniors need to be protected and have safe spaces in our public parks for them to enjoy without worry or distraction from being bitten or chased by rogue dogs with irresponsible dog owners. Whereas on April 21st, 2025, the Director of City Department of Parks and Recreation, Laura Thielen, sent a letter to this chair and fellow board members of Neighborhood Board 18 seeking community input regarding adding more dog-friendly parks in our area. She provided names of parks that currently doesn't have dog-friendly privileges. Whereas this Neighborhood Board 18 remains committed in providing a voice in the decision-making process of government for our community. Our motto is to ensure that decisions made provide our neighbors with the best place to live, work, and play. Whereas this Neighborhood Board 18 realizes that there needs to be more dog-friendly parks on Oahu. Whereas City DPR spokesperson Nathan Sirota publicly announced that our parks are going to the dogs. I'm sure he didn't mean all the parks. Please let us not forget our children and seniors, providing them safe spaces as well. There also should not be any disruption to organized youth sports at certain parks with the addition of more dog parks. These parks with youth activities should be avoided. Whereas certain parks that are already busy with human activities should be avoided as well, like the Aliamanu Regional Park exemption that the city has announced. Whereas the city believes current rules regarding pets in city parks are too restrictive and should be changed. We disagree. These rules and laws should remain in place to protect our keiki and kupuna in parks that ban animals. That is why we have dog parks. Whereas specifically addressing parks on the city's list in our Neighborhood Board 18 boundaries, the Salt Lake District Park at 1159 Alalilikoi Place and Ala Pu'umalu Community Park at 1575 Ala Pu'umalu Street should have the same exemption as the Aliamanu Regional Park has. Too many youth activities occur at both of these parks. These two parks are already overcrowded and parking is at a premium and hard to find day or night, especially on weekends. The public, especially our seniors, use these two parks as well for exercise and swimming. The popularity of these two parks will increase once they connect under the city's Salt Lake District Park master plan in the future. Salt Lake residents have two public dog parks already, which can be reached in 3 minutes from either side of the community by vehicle or 5 to 10 minutes by foot. On the east side of Salt Lake is the Moanalo Gardens Dog Park at 2850 Moanalo Road, under Pu'uloa Road, just past Salt Lake Boulevard. On the west side of Salt Lake is the Ho'aloha Neighborhood Dog Park at 5080 Alaloki Street, closest to the Salt Lake Shopping Center. Whereas the Howard Shima Likini Street Mini Park, 5375 Likini Street, is just simply too small for a dog park at this location. At our last board meeting on April 10, 2025, we did recommend to the city that this park have a children's playground and senior workout stations next to it, not a dog park. Whereas the Kanichan Aliamanu Neighborhood Park at 4259 Lavihana Street might be a location to look at in accommodating our Aliamanu and Foster Village dog owners with a small dog park. As of this writing, Neighborhood Board 18 has not studied the pros and cons of having a dog park at this location and have not interviewed any of the surrounding neighbors for their input. Whereas the Forest City Dog Park at 3772 Radford Drive is a private dog park that is used exclusively for military families and is not open to the public. Whereas the K Lagoon Park, 465 Lagoon Drive, would be an ideal location for a super dog facility, which provides a large, ample space for dogs to run, play, and socialize. Whereas once entering the park from the Lagoon Drive entrance, there's a long section of grass on the Mauka side, starting from the entry gate all the way to the first Mauka side parking area, which could be used for this purpose. Whereas for our over 50 years, no one or no activity has used this stretch of grass, except for recently the city made a makeshift entry exit for the Pacific Marina Inn at 2628 YY Loop due to rail construction. This temporary right-of-way has since shut down and fenced with the completion of the Ahua Rail Station. Whereas this location provides shady trees along the path, the planting of some grass is needed along with the ground leveling. Fencing would be needed along the roadside with entry gates at the beginning of the park and at the end of the grass stretch area near the first parking lot on the Mauka side. Sit-down benches added. This area could be used for on-leash activities. Whereas a second part of this super dog facility at Key Lagoon Park could utilize the Mackay side near the vehicle turnaround area before the roadway. This would be a good area for dogs to run unleashed along the grass straightaway. We can also look at the possibility of extending to the water in an L shape for dogs to swim at the end of the turnaround area. Of course, these areas would need to be fenced in. Whereas so many possibilities exist for dogs and its owners to enjoy this location, such as having an agility course for dogs, bridges, hoops, tunnels, and water sprinklers during watering grass hours are some activities that would attract dog owners all over Oahu to this super dog facility. Whereas dog trainers can work with the city and volunteer to watch the park and report violators. In exchange, they can use the facility for free to provide paid dog training classes for the public. Whereas there are no residential homes nearby that would be affected by this dog park, canoe and watercraft activities are on the east side of the park and won't be affected. Annual celebrations and sports activities would not be affected. Baseball field, tennis courts, pickleball courts, and other activities would not be affected. Lots of parking for everyone to enjoy. Be it resolved that the Aliamanu Salt Lake Fossil Village Airport Neighborhood Board number 18 respectfully requests that the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu, along with the director of the Parks and Recreation Department, along with the city council, entertain the feasibility of having a super dog park at the Key Lagoon Beach Park. This would be the Disneyland for dogs. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu, the managing director of the city and county of Honolulu, the directors of city and county departments of Parks and Recreation, Design and Construction, Planning and Permitting, along with Council Member Radiant Cordero and other council members of this city council. With that said, I wish to a motion this time to discuss this resolution that this board recommends that the Key Lagoon Park be used for a super dog facility park. Do I have a second on the motion of this? Hearing a second, we will open up to discussion. And like I said, before I get other board members to jump in, we did this resolution because of the letter sent by the Department of Parks and Recreation, naming all of these parks that don't have dog parks. And I wanted to get this in writing that certain parks that shouldn't, not all parks should have dog parks. Years ago, there was no dog parks. And now we're having some. I think maybe we should have a little bit more. But the majority should be for our keiki and our kapuna to enjoy, and everybody else to enjoy, especially the leagues for our kids. It should be uninterrupted. And most dog owners, they're pretty good. They watch their dog, watch their animals, but they have some that they don't care. They just let the dogs do whatever they want, and they just ruin it for everybody else. So with that said, that's why we're introducing this resolution. At this time, I'll ask the board if anybody else has any input in this resolution. Mr. Moore?
I have a concern here on this, mainly because of the homeless guys, the huge conglomeration of homeless guys that are right across the street. And I know they're there because I go running. I almost got attacked by a couple of those dogs there. There's a chain link fence right under Nimitz Highway. And my main concern is the homeless guys will use that as an excuse to bring their dogs in. And they don't keep any control over their dogs. And it's a major fear unless the city or the state does something to clean it up because I go jogging there and there's still a whole pack of dogs like locked within this chain. I don't know how they get in there. I don't know how they do it, but I guess the homeless guys crack the fence or something and they put their dogs in there and they close it. I don't know if they feed it, take care of it. But as I go jogging there, they're like ready to attack, but the fence is blocking, so I don't go running there anymore. My concern again is that they're going to get loose because the homeless guys now will utilize that as their, isn't there a encampment there at the lagoon thing as well too? Currently, they built a village there. Not the village on that where the freeway comes down, but they built another one behind on the Mackay side of the lagoon.
Mr. Omura,
That's my
Here-
concern.
yeah, I got your concern and I understand. There is an encampment by the drainage canal. Some homeless people there. But again, they're citizens of the United States. We cannot discriminate. They get allowed to use the dog park like everybody else, as long as they follow the rules and regulations. Other than as far as saying the homeless people are not invited to this, I don't agree with that statement. But I understand your concerns about them not following the rules.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if they do a dog park, the city agrees to that, they need to have some kind of enforcement. And I don't know if the police will do the enforcement. That's why in this resolution that I did was I put in there that maybe they should have dog trainers um, allowed to use this facility, and they can be the eyes and ears of the police if there's any violations. And at the same time, they can make money for their business by offering training lessons for the animals. And this would also benefit the public as well.
Well, the reason too also is that I look at the dog parks around, like the one underneath that road that goes up to Triplet Hospital by Monlo Intermediate School. There's a dog thing there. There's some homeless guys go there, but it's very limited and it's controlled. And I go running up that hill and I see the dogs there. I went down to play some basketball under there, and I talked to some of those guys that that walk their dogs there, and they said that yeah, there's no problem because the homeless guys don't bring their dogs there. Hoa Aloha Park, right across the street from my apartment there, it's very clean. We don't have any problems because I guess none of the homeless guys with dogs go over there or even venture around there. There's homeless guys that are there, but they're there by themselves. The military, I go running through that area quite often. I just did that today. They're very organized. I like the whole Aloha Park, and I like those three that I just mentioned. And they're well controlled, and the people are, and they really enjoy it. But it's controlled and it's good. It's good. I don't see that happening at Lagoon. I cannot see that. I see a lot of problems coming up, and that's my concern.
Like I said before, I understand your concern. I went to this Moanalo Dog Park today. There wasn't any homeless there. I went to K Lagoon Park in that area, a couple homeless walking around, but the homeless shouldn't be an issue for this dog park. We cannot just blame the homeless on everything. Like I said, they're citizens. They can utilize any facility as long as everybody else can use the facility, but they need to follow the rules. So basically, Mr. Omori, your concern is the following of rules if this dog park gets open. But we cannot discriminate at this point, just naming them as the ones that are going to cause all the problems. But that needs to be addressed if the city decides to build a dog facility park at K Lagoon. Any other comments from the board? Godfrey, you had something?
No, I just want to affirm that this resolution is well-written, lots of details, and I agree with the location that you've chosen at Kehi Lagoon.
Okay, with that said, I'll call for a vote at this time and, audience, you have anything to add regarding this dog park? Anybody here for that? I did have one from, comment from, Garner Shimizu's office. I'm not sure if I could use her name because I got this yesterday. And, just basically she's saying that, she wanted, Alapu Malu Park to have, dog access as well, on the leash. I guess she lives next to Alapu Malu Park. And as a board, we need to make a decision because there's always dog owners that the park is next to them. Of course, they're going to want that particular park. But I'm really concerned about the balance that we need to make as a board, that we got to have parks for our Keiki and Kapuna to enjoy without being worried, without worried about being attacked or even being scared. And some of these dog owners, they're very, I mean, most of them, like I said, are good. Some of them, they don't care. They let their dogs run all over the place. In Salt Lake on Alalilikoi Street and Likini Street, once a week, I find some idiot that they're going to have the dog crap on somebody's grass. And they'll just walk away, no bag in their hand. And a number of times I had to confront them and make them go back and pick up their crap. But like I said, that's just an example of what some of these dog owners, they don't care. So we need to, from what this, I read from the city's Department of Parks and Recreation Director, seemed like they wanted to open this up for all the parks and as long as they're on a leash. And I hope that's not the direction that the mayor and the city is going. I think we should leave our parks that have youth sports and are utilized and are crowded. They made an exemption for Aliamanu Park, and I really think we should have an exemption for our two big parks, which is eventually supposed to connect. And we have too much sports activities going on with those two parks. So with that said, I want to take a vote on this resolution. All in favor, raise your right hand. I know what you meant. Okay, we got 6. And Mr. Omur, is that a no or are you abstaining? What? Okay, one abstaining, 6 for this resolution. This resolution has passed. It will be sent to the city agencies for consideration, and they can decide if Key Lagoon is the right place for the park. But like I said, if they pick any other parks within Salt Lake, I as chair, and we're gonna have to have a discussion as to if the community agrees to the city naming another park for dog access. Because if they do that and we get too many parks with dog access, it's gonna have somebody later on says, oh, my cats want somebody, I want a cat park. And horses gonna want horse parks. So, we gotta be careful. There's gotta be a balance. Parks are like for use of our children. That was for the parks and then the seniors. So, we need to get everything in order, and the city needs to tread carefully and not make all the parks dog friendly. Let's move on our agenda. Let's go to the 3 absence letters for board member Baird and Ogawa. I wish to put those 2 together. I've spoken to both individuals, and one of them has had 40 years on this board, the other 20 years on this board. They have dedicated their years of service to this board, very knowledgeable in what we do here as a board. And at this time, I want to make a motion that they discuss reasons why, and I cannot disclose But there was as far as the medical reasons, but anyway, I want to make a motion that any motion by any of the board to vacate these two from the board? Hearing none, forget what I said then. Okay, let's move on. Approval of the April 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Or is there any changes or corrections regarding those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes is being submitted as written. The next Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18 regular meeting will be held on Thursday, July 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the same location venue. There will be no meeting in June. This will be a board recess. And like I said, our next meeting will be on July 10th. Of course, the videotaping of this meeting is on Olelo, and it's on the Saturday at 9 p.m. and second and fourth Friday at 7 a.m. Anyway, any board members have updates on assignments that they have or want to add anything to their assignments? Mr. Moore?
The 31st question.
Say that again?
We're not meeting in June, but normally there's some kind of, we should be getting sworn in, right? As a new board in June. I mean, Candy, this is not me, this is for our,
No, we need to make a correction, Mr. Moore. It's in July, not June.
July?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna vote for you as chair in the next in
No,
July.
no.
Okay, not hearing anything. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.